Hello, this is Mackie with FlipClockFans.com, and we're going to do a little tutorial here over the restoration and care of the Panasonic RC-6015, the Back to the Future clock. This clock that you're looking at here is a new in-box clock. It's just as good as it gets. This is going to allow us to do a little bit of looking at what a normal clock looks like and some of the things that you see on here that you may see on your clock which are completely normal. We're also going to go over how to clean this, what to do, what not to do, and hopefully give you some tips on how to care for your clock. First thing we want to do is look what a brand new clock looks like. You can see the buttons are of uniform color, and the cabinet is uniform throughout. This clock's enemy is sunlight or heat sources. It'll start warping the cabinet. It'll start discoloring the buttons. As you can see, the clock face here, the cabinet comes down and meets it perfectly. In other clocks you'll see that doesn't meet so perfectly. Some of the older clocks, it looks fine, don't get me wrong, and you can't really fix that. Don't try to warp that back, but this is completely mated. Another thing is you may see that there are some swirls. You may not be able to see it in the video, but there are some swirls in the plastic that are normal. On the back side you'll see this is where they've deburred this, the flash that comes when they press this out of the mold. If you look down in here, you'll see tooling marks where the metal mold itself had marks that are like fingerprints. Every one is the same. This clock was pressed out of the same mold. Every clock I've ever examined. And one of the things that you can find that I think is interesting, if you look on these dots where the speaker is, if you go over here, these are just for decoration, but if you go 7 over and 1 up, you'll see the corner of a square of dots that are kind of not shiny on the inside. So whoever made the mold did not polish the little metal nubs that would go in here and make this plastic thing. So every clock will have 4 dull dots right in this square area from the right 7 over. I just think that's interesting. Another thing you'll see on the clock is this area here. It's a little nub that's on the face. That's normal and natural. That's what you normally see. So as far as the care of the clock, your friend with cleaning this clock is soap and water and rinse with distilled water. Not spring water, distilled water. In caring for the face, if you see it's dusty and you take a cloth, I don't care how soft it is, and you wipe that, you're going to scratch it. If you see a dot and you try to scrape it off with your fingernail, you will scratch it with your fingernail. So you really only want to touch this face if you've got soap and water handy, and then you can rinse it with distilled water. Other solvents that you can use on this clock is you can use alcohol all day long. It won't damage anything. It won't damage the paint. Of course, you would have disassembled the clock completely to do that. Now, as a side note, if you have a clock, you're not used to working with clocks, you're not really that interested in taking things apart, and you have not yet disassembled your clock, stop. Don't do it. The clocks that are used and are older, they become brittle. If you start to take out these cabinet screws, it will crack. You'll hear it. If you do it with a mechanical screwdriver, you almost surely will crack it. So if you're going to do that, I would do this in a warm place. You can warm these clocks up. If you exceed 150 degrees, you'll start warping it. That's its max. I don't want to tell you how I know that, but trust me. This clock here, I'm almost certain that I could take these out without any problem. I would like to test that, but this is a new in-the-box clock. That to me is violation. I wouldn't do that on an in-the-box clock. I wouldn't open this up. It works perfectly right now. So again, if you haven't opened it up, I wouldn't do it. If you were selling me a clock and I saw that it was dirty and hadn't been opened and the light didn't work, I'd more readily buy it. But again, if you're a fixer-upper, go for it. Okay, so alcohol is fine. Ammonia, straight ammonia that you get from the store, strong stuff, again from the grocery store, is perfectly fine. It will clean all the black haze out from the back of this. Again, if you've completely disassembled it, there's usually a black haze on the upper side of the cabinet. And as far as general disinfecting, ammonia works great. If you have stickers on here that you want to get rid of, it says wood grain, simulated wood grain here. Some people think that adds to its value. To me, it doesn't. But again, I'd rather see that than not. But I'm taking it off, and I'm going to use this one. Did not come with that, by the way, and you can tell because there's no change, there's no fading. If you do take the sticker off, sometimes underneath it'll be a little bit darker color, usually not noticeable. But if you want to take that off, you can use WD-40. That works great. WD-40 will melt that plastic, and then you wash it with soap and water. You'll never know anything like that happened. If you use acetone on this, you'll ruin it. If you're going to use glue, if you get super glue, is your best bet. It will do a really good bond. If you're going to, but if you get it on the cabinet face, if you get it on the cabinet, you're going to ruin it. You won't be able to fix that. If you use goof off, like sometimes there's latex paint on these. If you use goof off, you will ruin it, especially the face. So goof off, anything like that, anything with benzene or things like that, you will completely damage this clock. On the inside, when they manufactured this, they used a black tarry-like glue, and it really adheres to this stuff. I don't know what that is, but I wouldn't use it. If I ever have to like pin things down for some reason, for example, there's a connector in here, electric connector, that goes in its own little slot. And if I really feel like that needed to be pinned down, I don't think it normally does, but I would use hot glue. Hot glue binds really well, and it can be released, so it holds things down in place. So hot glue is fine on this, as long as your temperature is not too high. So that's pretty much it. So take care of your clocks. Oh, and do not drop these. I dropped one. Was a pretty good clock. Probably would have sold for over 150 on eBay. Dropped it from about 7 feet. It was in a box, not enough bubble wrap. Was completely decimated, completely destroyed. The only thing I salvaged, literally the only thing I salvaged, was the buttons and some screws. Everything was destroyed. So dropping these clocks is a big no-no. Well, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, come visit us at flipclockfans.com.